Peter thinks I'm stupid. I know he does. It's not that I personally believe that maybe he finds me a little less intelligent than others. It's that I know for a fact that he thinks I'm the biggest twat on the face of the earth. I know this for sure. And how do I know it? Because he's told me so himself. More than once. In fact, on numerous occasions. He tells me so all the time. All day, nearly every day. He calls me stupid to my face in broad daylight, even with strangers standing around bearing witness on a regular basis. He wouldn't dare do this to anyone else, but with me somehow it's fine. It's somehow okay to point out my supposed intellectual shortcomings in rooms full of people every time he just feels like it. Be sure of this, he wouldn't dream of talking to anybody else like he talks to me. But I don't mind. Actually, that's not true. It's more than that. I like it. I revel in it. I rejoice in it. I now invite it. See, the more he calls me stupid, the more he convinces himself that I am, and the less he expects me not to be. Bottom line, I can get away with just absolutely anything. Is that a phrase? Just absolutely anything? I don't know. It sounds good, but also unlike anything I've ever heard before. But then again, English is only at best a second language to me. I put words together to organize my thoughts, and it might happen sometimes that I string them together in a bit of a peculiar way. See, if I were deemed smart, people would say that's creative or original, perhaps even poetic. But people don't tend to think I'm clued up, particularly not Peter. That's okay though. I don't measure my happiness by Peter's yardstick for smarts. All I know is that I've been smart enough to get him to take me in, shelter me, feed me, give me a warm bed, cuddle me softly. In short, love me in his own peculiar, insulting way. I reckon I'm the smartest dog on the block. Is Peter smarter than me? That's an interesting question. Let's review the evidence. The first time he called me stupid, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I soon worked it out. Being stupid meant creating some kind of annoyance for him, any kind. The first time, I'd weed on the blue rug, the itchy one I don't like. Okay, back then, I hadn't worked out there are places to do that kind of business, and you're not invited to do it inside the house. My bad. How was I meant to know that? Peter wheezed in the house, right there in front of me half the time, so I thought I could follow suit. My bad. Overturning my football over the floor, that was stupid also. Not in my book, because Peter gave me a second serving before he'd cleaned up the first one and I had a double dinner that time. But anyway, he said that was stupid. So I soon worked out that being stupid was in my interest. It just means doing whatever I want, and not only that, but getting away with it with just a little label. Stupid. Better even, my powers of stupidity build exponentially. Every time I do something stupid, I get called stupid, which creates this expectation that, as I'm stupid, all I can ever do is stupid. The result is I can do all of the stupid stuff I want to do all day, every day, and Peter just expects it because he's made me stupid. See how it works? If he expected me to behave well, I'd have a much harder time, and a lot less fun, I'm sure. No more jumping on the kitchen top to eat his breakfast while he snoozes on the loo. No more running after his sister's budgie when she comes to visit. No more barking to the neighbours when they have the audacity to park on my turf. None of it. I just have to sit quietly all day, every day. That's not a life. I'm not a cat. I would much rather run after butterflies, bark to my mates in 18A and 20D, and help myself to some tasty morning bacon. That's because I'm stupid, see? Sometimes I fantasize that I talk to him. I mean, in a way he'll understand, because the poor man only knows one language, and not very well either. Anyway, I talk to him and I say, Peter, I'm not stupid, man. Or if I am, only marginally more than you, but even that's unlikely. Who goes to work every day so they can afford to feed me? He's told me so enough times. Who stopped serving up that ghastly dry food you tried to put me on and now gives me the scrumptious, organic, wet goodness that melts in your mouth in an oh-so-delicious way? Huh? You also like the good stuff, don't deny it. You call me stupid because I lick my balls, but I see the way you fondle yours in the shower. Believe me, we're not that different, you and I. We like the good stuff. That's only natural. But me, I only have to wait around to get it. There's only one way in which being stupid has somewhat come back to bite me in the tush. Because Peter thinks I'm stupid, I have very little freedom outside the house. See, inside the house, I can get away with anything. I'm just there, going about my business, overturning pots that look tasty, snoozing on what cushion seems fluffy, biting what looks tough and yet breakable. I'll get called stupid and go on doing it. Good stuff. But outside the house is another matter. Outside the house, I'm in a cage. My cage doesn't have 4 walls and a lock on the front door, like the one I have to go in twice a year when it takes me to that sickly place where they stick needles all over me like I'm some other dude's voodoo doll. But it's a cage nonetheless. It's long, noosey and red. It attaches to my collar and never lets go. Never ever at any point in my not-so-short life have I ever been allowed off the lead. I know this phrase so well. I sometimes say it in my stupid head like a prayer. I've heard Peter mention it many times to neighbours, friends and family. Oh no, he's not allowed off the lead. Oh no, my dog is always off the lead. Is he? Oh no, mine couldn't be off the lead. He's too stupid. Sometimes when the house goes quiet, after Peter has put me in my bed and I've snuck onto the new plush sofa instead, I repeat this phrase under my breath. Off the lead. What would it take for me to be off the lead? I've thought about it hard for many, many months. A miracle. That's what it would take. In the first few weeks after I became obsessed with the idea of walking off the lead, I weighed the pros and cons of a change of strategy. That is, there was my thinking. If I'm on the lead because I'm stupid, then maybe by convincing Peter that I'm not that stupid, he would let me off the lead. Sounds logical, right? But then, if he suddenly trusts me not to be stupid, I lose all those stupidity-related privileges I've cautiously gathered inside the house, and I'm not sure the trade-off is worth it. From a mathematical standpoint, it's not. I spend a lot more time inside the house than I do outside on walks. But science is not everything. What if by being unleashed, I found out a bounty of treasures out there in the woods, where everyone else seems to have so much more fun than I do? Every time I see one of those hounds appearing freely over the crest of the hill, it gives me a pang of envy. What might they smell that I couldn't? What might they taste that I won't? Where have they been? Where will they go next? Do they know the itchiness of the collar? Do they know the pain of always having a pair of human legs in your field of vision? I couldn't work out whether the trade-off was worth it, though. It's hard to gauge, and I'm no gambler. Also, trying to behave better, that is, smartly, so that Peter would let me off the lead, was always going to be a stratagem based on 2 potentially very flawed assumptions. Firstly, that Peter himself would be smart enough to notice the change. Secondly, that he would be wise enough to revise his opinion. I concluded that by now his cognitive bias regarding my stupidity was much too deeply entrenched for him to ever consider me as anything but stupid, so I gave up on the idea. He's too stupid.